I've got eyes. Wonderful. So once you've done that little selection to say that you're happy for the record to happen, then you can sit back and relax. If you come into actually a seated cross-leg position, um, just a little reminder, if knee joints are not happy, if your hip joints aren't happy, then perhaps wide leg or just seated with your legs forward will be fine. Oh, I haven't muted you all. After I've shuffled my bum back, I hadn't muted you all. Let's do that for the recording. I just get really bad feedback if I don't. That's better. Super. So I'll allow you to kind of like drop into your body in this upright cross-leg position. It's not a case of feeling tight and held in this posture. We want to try and find a little bit of space. So just generally start moving slowly through the shoulders, rolling little circles, perhaps lifting one shoulder, then the other. Just starting to create space through the chest, through the upper back. Allow the shoulders to fully release and relax, and rest the back of the hands to the insides of the thighs, so palms are turned up. Easy to begin with, we'll just gently lower the right ear towards the right shoulder. Avoid lifting the shoulder to the ear. Then come back to center and take the opposite ear over. Usually at this point we can sense that there's one side that just feels a little tighter than the other. Bring the head back again to center. Keep the underside of the chin parallel to the floor. As you turn the head to draw your gaze over the right shoulder, then gently lower the chin towards the shoulder. Trace the line of the collarbone. So we're going from right to left. We'll trace all the way back from left to right. Oh, I've got a lot of crunch in the back of my neck there. Then come back again to center. Take a moment now to turn the gaze over the left shoulder. From here, take your gaze upwards. So the head remains where it is. We're working with the eyes. So we'll take the eyes up towards the ceiling. Then bring the gaze to face forward. Turn the eyes towards the back of the room. So looking to the right, back to center, towards the front of the room, back again to center, then turning your gaze down towards the floor. Let your eyes settle again in center, then return your head to the front. On the next exhalation, just gently lower the chin towards the chest, taking care not to bring the rest of your upper body with this. Ideally, we want to feel as though we've got a little lift, a little stretch between the shoulder blades, a release and lengthen through the back of the neck. Take a deep breath in through the nose, widen through the chest. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in and bring the head back again to center. Lovely. Let's just change that leg cross over, so opposite foot in front or behind. Place the hands onto the knees. As you next exhale, again, we're going to draw the tummy button in, rolling the spine this time towards the back of the room, curving. Kind of feels like you're tucking the tailbone forward as you bring the chin to rest on the chest. Then the opposite effect is as you use the inhalation, lead with the sternum, opening the chest, lifting your gaze up towards the ceiling. So no one breathes that slowly. Let's take it a little more like natural pace of breath. So exhale, roll through the spine. Inhale, lift the sternum forward. Exhale, roll. Inhale, lift. One more time. Exhale, roll. Really get into the lower back if you can. Then inhale, lift. Come all the way up into that extended cobra posture. Then on the next out breath, engage the core. Bring the underside of the chin again parallel to the mat. Now we're going to bring the hands to an interlock to create a little ledge to rest underneath the chin. So the key here is that we don't really want to be pushing the head up and down and overworking the neck. So rest the chin onto the hands. As you inhale, lift the elbows up. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in, and as if you're using bellows, you're releasing that tension in the body. So inhale, open. Exhale, widen. Inhale, open. Exhale, engaging the core. Inhale, lift. Exhale. One more time. Exhale, release. Now reposition the hands behind the hips. On the inhalation, lift the sternum again, turn the gaze up towards the ceiling, drawing the shoulder blades together. So we're kind of exaggerating, we're holding around through the in and out breath, widening through the chest on every inhale, engaging the core on every exhale. Then bring the weight of your upper body to rest onto the palms of the hands. Keep opening through the chest, pressing down into the sit bones. On the next inhalation, press the shins forward, lift the bottom from the floor. Keep drawing the shoulder blades together, lifting the belly, opening through the front of the body. Be mindful of how you hold your head here. We don't want the head to drop back. Then on the next exhale, release the sit bones back to the floor. Lift and lengthen again into center. Bring the soles of the feet together. So you know that the closer you draw your heels towards the body, the more intense this feels in the hips and sometimes in the knees. So create the space that you need just to create comfort around those joints. Bring the hands either to the ankles or to wrap around the toes. Inhale, lift up and lengthen. As you exhale, gently hinge forward. So you're mindful here that you're not leading with the chin or with the nose. Think about the sternum drawing you forward, creating a diagonal from the back of the head to the tailbone. So with every out breath, you're just finding a little more space. You're perhaps borrowing from the space in the inner thighs, in and around the hips. You're reminding yourself that with every inhalation, you're lengthening. So you're gently lifting and lengthening through the spine. Then on the next out breath, draw the tummy button in. On the next in breath, lift and come back again to center. Take hold of the right foot, push through the heel. So not uncommon to be feeling a lot of resistance here, particularly because we haven't done yoga for a few weeks. Keep pressing through the heel and sort the upper body out. So let the shoulders relax, open through the chest. Take the opposite hand out to the side. It helps with balance, but also helps to remind you to keep those shoulders released. On the next inhale, mindfully press through the heel. On the exhale, engage the core. On the next inhalation, you're imagining that you're breathing in from fingertip to fingertip. On the exhale, keep the core engagement as you control and glide the foot back to center. Working up again into the inhale to lift, lift, lift and lengthen. Take a few breaths to sort out your balance, find the center. Make sure that you're rested equally on the sit bones, that we're not rolling to one side. Lengthen again through the heel on the inhalation. Then on the exhale, engage the core. Bring that foot back again to center. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, take hold of both feet, push through the heels. So we'll keep thinking about the breath here, because with every out breath, you're drawing the tummy button in. With every in breath, you're pushing yourself up out of the sit bones, lengthening into this space. Wide through the shoulders rather than tight and tense. And then on the out breath, engage the core, draw the soles of the feet together. Widen the knees, inhale to lift, exhale to hinge forward. Keep the shoulder blades drawn together, back into that beautiful forward folded Baddha Konasana. Exhale, engage the core. Inhale, lift, 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 back to center. Perfect. I'm going to get you to come onto your backs now. It hasn't escaped my notice that I haven't started you in a nice sing-songy way. That set the tone for the evening. I think you know what you're up for. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So we're going to lie on our backs with knees bent, setting the heels hip-width distance apart, perhaps bringing the hands either side of the hips. Mindfully again widen through the chest, so you're spreading the space across the collarbones, drawing the shoulder blades together so that you can feel that your upper body is firmly rested onto the flats of the shoulder blades, onto the back of the head, and through the back of the hips. Now, when we place the body like this, that lift that we often find in the lower back is somewhat exaggerated. So you can try, if you like, to see if you can wiggle your hand underneath that space in the lower back. That's perfectly normal. Remember that the spine is not straight. It allows for that general lift and that little relaxed release in the lower back. On the next exhalation, engage the core. On the inhalation, lift and lengthen through the right leg. Bring the toe in towards the shin on the out breath. On the in breath, point the toe. So exhale to flex, inhale to point. Exhale to flex, inhale to point. Let's come into a more active flexion now. So really pressing through the heel. Visualizing that you can draw that thigh a little closer towards the chest without using the arm. Try to keep that right leg long, so avoid too much bend in the knee. Equally, don't lock the knee out if you're very flexible. Keep that core engagement, keep that flexion in the foot. Inhale to widen through the chest. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in and float the right heel down until the thighs are level with one another. Now use the big toe of the right foot to draw 3 circles in towards the midline of the body. Change direction, take those circles the opposite way, knowing that this is a good time for any creaks and groans to release. Bring the foot back to flexion, and I'm just going to encourage you here to spread the toes. Just give a little bit of space between the toes, little wiggle. Keep that core engagement. On the out breath, float that right heel down, resting that heel an inch from the floor. Rather than using the toe, we keep the foot in flexion. We use the heel to draw 3 wide circles. So it's up to you how wide those circles need to be. Just know that the bigger and wider they are, the more you're inclined to unsettle the hips. Change direction, bring those circles the other way. So we're staying in control, keeping that lower abdominal core engagement. Now rest that heel an inch from the floor. Inhale now to lift the arms overhead. So there's no need to bring the hands all the way to the floor. Just rest the backs of the hands a couple of inches from the mat. Point through the toes, point through the fingers. On the out breath, slide the thumbs together to make an interlock. Draw the toe in towards the shin. So flexion in the foot, open through the chest. On the next out breath, squeeze the upper body over to the left side. So you're getting a deeper stretch from the right armpit down the side of the rib cage and the waist. Inhaling again to return to center, softening as we release the thumbs, coming once more to a full stretch. Then on the out breath, hug that right knee in towards the chest. Replace that right foot to the floor. Again, just make sure we've allowed a nice hip space between the knees, that both feet are fully rested. Palms either side of the hips, shoulder blades together. Inhale to widen, exhale to engage the core, gently feeling that little lift in the lower back. On the next inhale, lift and lengthen through the left leg. So again, we're working through point and flex. Particularly when the weather is cold, we tend to keep the calves really tight. We tend to try and grip hold with the toes so that we don't slip. So come into full flexion here. Push a little more keenly through the heel. Be mindful of ironing out that little bend in the knee. Think again about inhaling to fill the space in the upper body. Exhaling to engage the core, filling the gap in the lower back. Then lower that left heel down until the thighs again are level. We're drawing circles with the toe to mobilise the ankle. I'm a little more creaky on this side. Change direction, take those circles the opposite way. Then bring the foot to flexion. Keep that core engagement, pressing through the heel. Slowly lower the heel down until an inch off the floor. By keeping the foot in flexion, we can lead with the heel rather than the toe to draw these wide circles. So again, in towards the body, then away from the body. If you fling your leg about, you're more likely to destabilize the hips. So keep that core engagement. Bring that heel again an inch from the floor. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. So the first action's a lovely long stretch pointing through fingers and toes. Then we come to bring the thumbs together, the foot into flexion, keeping the shoulders relaxed as we exhale to squeeze the upper body to the right. Opening into the left of the armpit, the rib cage, the waist. Inhaling again to return to center. Another nice long stretch. Then exhale to hug that knee in towards the chest. Perfect. Now replace that left foot on the floor. So we're back into knees bent, heels and knees about hip width distance apart. I think last week I gave you the option to park the palms underneath the bottom. So particularly if you know that you have a little weakness in the lower back, you might prefer to just place the hands. It helps to do it at that space where the bottom starts to get a little fleshy. If you put the hands directly under the flat bones of the sacrum, you just cut off your blood circulation. So on the out breath, draw the tummy button in. On the in breath, lift the right leg. Engage the core, lift the left leg. On the next exhalation, draw both toes in towards the shins and press through the heels. So if we're tight in the hamstrings, which most of us will be, we just need to lower those heels a little, but don't go too far. Keep that core engagement. Now let's take a little more slack on the left knee. Bring the left knee to a 90-degree angle. Keep that toe pointing up towards the ceiling. Then on the out breath, bring the right heel down to a count of 3, 2, and 1. Keep that core engagement. Inhale, widen through the chest. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in. We'll reverse, we'll lift for 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Now bring that right knee to a 90-degree angle. Extend and lengthen the left leg. If the lower back is giving you a lot of jip, you can always draw that right knee a little closer, but don't cheat yourself of the benefits of working the core. On the exhale, core engagement, lower down the left heel. 3, 2, and 1. The 1 is about a foot off the floor, so try not to rest the foot fully down. Keep the core engaged. Then that left leg is lifting. 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Bend that left knee. Allow both feet to come to the floor. Slide the hands out from under the bottom if you were using that little extra lift. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling. Draw the heels in. Push down into the soles of the feet and lift the bottom from the mat. So this is going to feel really nice, releasing out through the hip flexors. We'll hopefully find a little bit of space here in the front of the thighs too. So we want to be mindful that we don't overdo the angle on the knee. So it's always better to push the feet a little further away, press the shins forward, lift the thighs higher rather than coming up onto the balls of the feet, and think about that line from the knee through the thigh, through the hip flexor, and then we'll take that mindful line through the front of the body. To extend that line, inhale to lift both arms overhead, and if it's within your range of movement, bring the backs of the hands to the floor. If that causes you discomfort in the shoulders, take the arms to a T shape or leave them by your side. Inhale to press the shins forward, lift the thighs a little higher. You can feel now that little gap underneath the shoulder blades. On the out breath, start to find the space between the shoulder blades by rolling the spine vertebra by vertebra back towards the mat. Take your time on this. There's a part in the middle back where it starts to all feel a little bit jumbled and a bit tight in the shoulders. Work through it to get the benefit. Bring the back of the hips to the floor. Then as you exhale, draw the tummy button in. Inhale, lift the arms up and over. On the next exhalation, hug both knees in towards the chest. So we did some of these last week. I make no apologies for reintroducing them. We're going to come to the dying fly posture, or the reverse table as I sometimes call it. So you're lying on your back with your knees above your hips, your heels in line with your knees, and your toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Perfect. Nicely bringing the arms either side straight up from the shoulders. And I'll repeat that 90 degrees is a good angle here. We don't want the knees in here, or we don't want the feet miles away. Keep that nice control. So for now, all we're focusing on is static contraction. Let's do a count of 3 breaths. Inhaling to widen through the chest, exhaling to draw the tummy button in, and again closing that little gap in the lower back. We'll do that for breath count number 2 and breath count number 3. Good. No one's got their feet together. Good. So that's the static contraction. On the next exhale, keeping the core engaged. So I think it helps to visualize that you're pushing the lower back to the floor. Slide the right foot forward until you come to a straight line and keep the heel an inch from the floor. Wide through the chest, engaged in the core. Inhale to point the toe, exhale to flex. Inhale to point, come back to flexion. Keep the core engaged, then bring that knee back up, making the 90-degree angle. On the next exhale, extend the left leg forward. So same action, you slide the leg forward, bring it down so the heel's an inch from the floor. And then we're mobilizing the ankle, just pointing and flexing. Try not to hold the breath when we're in any of these static contractions. It can just give you a headache. Bring the foot to flexion, engage the core, then bring the knee back again to center. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Your choice whether you want to maybe rock and roll from one side to the other, or if you like that little figure of 8 thing that I do, you might find that that nicely massages the lower back. I'm just going to change my camera angle a little and move a little further back. Keep kicking the radiator, which is no good. Perfect. So you're coming back into the dying fly. I apologise, I don't really. Bring the hands straight above the shoulders. So to gently extend the lever here, we'll easily start to slide the arms back, bringing the thumbs an inch from the floor. And again, taking shoulder mobility into account, go wider if that helps. Wide through the chest. And then all we're gently going to do is push the heels a little further away. So rather than maintaining a 90-degree angle, we're just getting a little bit more of an obtuse angle at the knees. So that just creates more lift. It starts to feel a little harder on the lower back, but let's keep all the action in the jelly beans in the tummy. Then on the out breath, engage the core, bring the knees back to center. Just to keep those shoulders soft, we'll bring the hands either side of the hips. Again, palms turned up. Take the hands a little wider away from the body so that you're not tempted to grip hold of anything. On the next exhale, keep the left knee bent. Push the right heel up towards the ceiling. Keep the core engaged. Bring that heel down to 1 inch from the floor. So again, we're going to use the count of 3, but this time we're just going to pulse the heel to lift and lower above the floor. So 3, 2, and 1. Have a rest. I'm going to say rest, I mean just stay where you are. Repeat for another 3, 2, and 1. Then one last set, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that knee back to center, hug the knees towards the chest. Come back again to that 90-degree angle with the knees. Exhale to extend the left heel forward. So start again about a couple of inches from the floor, that little pulse action, 3, 2, and 1. Pause. 3, 2, 1. Pause. And 3 more. Engage the core, bring that knee back to center, hug the knees in towards the chest. Oh, you like that. Now let's bring the feet back onto the floor, but we'll take the feet wider than hip width distance. So we're effectively just bringing the feet to rest, I guess at the outside edge of the mat. Bring the arms to make a T shape. So again, we're encouraging that opening through the chest, that release through the upper body onto the flats of the shoulder blades. On the exhale, roll both knees to the right and start to trace your gaze over the left arm. So allow that left shoulder to sink to the floor. It doesn't matter if that left hip lifts from the mat. Just allow gravity to draw the bent knees towards the floor. Inhale to widen through the chest. Exhale, draw the tummy button in. Roll both knees and the head back through center. On the next out breath, roll both knees to the left side. And again, we'll just take our gaze, this time over the right arm. I always like to notice if one hip jumps up a little more keenly, if there's any more tightness. Just notice the differences in the sides of the body. Never any judgment, just awareness. Inhale from fingertip to fingertip. Exhale, engage the core. Roll the knees back through center. Perfect. Now we'll bring the feet back to a hip width distance position. And as if we're coming into Apanasana, we're bringing the knees in towards the chest. But we'll keep the hands out to that T-shaped position. We're not coming back into a 90-degree angle. The heels are just heavy, so we've got a nice tight triangle at the knees. On the out breath, roll both knees to the right. Turn your gaze over the left arm. So you'll feel that you're getting a nice twist, a release through the middle back into the lower back. But by turning the head over the left arm, you also get that really deep, joyous opening at the side of the pectoral muscles into the armpit. Keep breathing that left shoulder to the floor. Inhale, fingertip to fingertip. Exhale, engage the core, roll the knees through center. Then take the knees all the way to the opposite side. And again, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to roll over to get that sense of gravity drawing the legs to the floor. You want to feel the release outside the buttock into the side of the armpit and that gentle twist into the middle back. Then as you exhale, engage the core, roll both knees back again to center. I'll invite you again to have that little rock and roll moment. I like my little figure of eights. Then we'll reposition the hands behind the thighs. So rather than on the knees, come behind the thighs. Draw the tummy button in and roll yourself up and stay up. So we're kind of keeping the heels lifted, keeping the sternum lifted. Then control that roll back down. Engage the core, lift up, then roll back down. Then a little bit more free form, just gently rock forward and back, massaging through the length of the spine, all the while recruiting the core muscles. Beautiful. Let's come all the way up, up, up. Good. You're all still with me. Kind of wakes you up, that action. Can we please come into an all fours position now? So in our all fours position, wrists under shoulders, elbows relaxed, so try not to lock the elbows out, knees under hips. And for now, we're just resting on the tops of the feet. So we're just letting those fronts of the ankles, fronts of the feet just soften and release. I'm in a very relaxed state, so my tummy is gently easing towards the floor. There's a kind of gentle roll in the spine. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in. As you inhale, widen through the chest. So you kind of feel as if you're in a more engaged position. On the next out breath, slide the right foot back, turn the toe under, and use the next out breath to press the heel towards the floor. With every inhalation, remind yourself to widen, open. With every exhalation, a gentle pressure on the heel and engagement in the core. Then slide that knee back in. Keep that nice engagement, that gentle balance. Then extend the left foot back. Turn the toe under, press through the heel. It's important here that we again keep the weight equal through the hips, so we don't want to be rolling onto that bent right knee. We want length, we want strength in the upper body and engagement in the core. Then bring that knee back towards centre. Joyful. I'm going to make it a little easier by suggesting that we come onto our forearms. So elbows underneath the shoulders, palms of the hands turned down towards the mat so that you're resting on the forearms. Then lift the right knee up. So we're making a 90-degree angle, but you can see that what's happening here is that the front of the thigh is parallel to the mat. The 90-degree angle is at the knee and the foot is in flexion. Very small, very subtle movement. We're pulsing the knee up, then lowering the knee down. So pressing up and down. And we're going to do about 8 of these. I'll see how I feel. If I start to get tired before that, we might do less. If I'm enjoying it, we might do more. I reckon we'll still get another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that right knee. Rest onto the shins and push the sit bones back towards the heels. Keep the forearms on the mat. Allow the forehead to rest towards the floor. Might not come to the floor. Then come back up again into that all fours, not quite all fours position. We've got forearms to the floor. Bring the knee into that 90-degree angle. And then again, it's just that subtle lift and lower. I'm going to stop demonstrating so that I can watch you. It's important that that knee action is quite subtle. So flinging the knee up and down won't do any good. Where you want to feel it is into the buttock muscles, is right into the glutes. By my count, you've easily got another 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Beautiful. Then bring that left knee down. And again, you're going to slide back into that child's pose, but we're going to keep it really easy. Forearms to the floor. Nice and relaxed. Joyful. Come back up into the all fours position. Let's just pay a little bit of attention to the lower back in case that gave us any jip. So this time we're keeping the elbows soft, but rather than resting on the tops of the feet, we're going to turn the toes under. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in and exaggerate lifting the lower back towards the ceiling. nodding the chin to the chest, tucking the tailbone down between the knees. The opposite effect, bring the sternum forward. I always flatten the feet at this point, opening the chest, relaxing the shoulders back, then exhaling, rolling through the spine. So we've done these cat and cow postures in two different ways tonight. We're just reminding the spine that it's all connected, keeping positive energy flowing through the full length of the body. One more cow pose as we bring the sternum forward to let the lower back fully release. And return again to that nice and strong core position. So rather than coming back onto the forearms, we're going to take the right foot back. For now, we're just touching the toe to the floor. We want to make sure that we're not rolling over to the left knee. So keep the hips square, the shoulders square, equally weighted through the wrists. Then lift that right heel up, foot in flexion. And again, sticking with that idea of having a pulsing action, we're just going to lift the heel and lower. So you can see this is not a big movement. And if we lift the leg too high, we tend to twist the hips out. So keep that left hip parallel to the floor. These are a little bit easier than the bent knee ones. So we'll go for another 8. 4 more. Last one. Rather than just dropping the knee, bend the knee in towards the chest, then replace that foot to the mat. Walk both hands forward, push the palms to the mat, keep the elbows soft as you once more return to a child's pose position. This time we've got the elbows lifted and we're pressing the sit bones to the heel to encourage a deeper release into the lower back, into the sides of the rib cage, lifting the fingertips from the mat, pressing into the wrists, just neatly tuning that lower back a little deeper. Lift back up into the all fours position, reminding yourself the importance of engaging the core so that you're strong in this posture. Take the left toe back, find your center point, lift that heel, reset the center point, then start again with those lift and lower. And it's good to keep them at that nice, slow, steady pace. Sometimes if we do this action to music, we get a little bit too fast and it just throws it all out. We can really focus on the control, on that little bit of tension that's happening in the buttock. Let's go for another 6, 5, nearly there, 2 more, last one. And remember, we don't give in, we're still in control. We bring that left knee in, then we replace that foot to the floor, or that knee to the floor. I'm going to invite you this time to widen the knees, come back onto the forearms again, then push back, bringing the forehead, if it reaches, all the way to the floor. A little bit of space here in the lower back, in the inner thighs. Dreamy. Perfect. Then push down into the palms, lift yourself back up. And rather than coming into all fours, I'll just get you to face front. Just come and sit on your bottom and face front. So it's funny, because when I was putting this class plan together, I was like, this is like something I would have been teaching in the 90s. This would have been like an aerobic floor plan, but you would never have had an hour of it. You would have had like 20 minutes of it. So how lucky are you? You're going old school tonight. I'm going to do a little bit of extra butt and hip action, which isn't really yoga, but that's okay. Don't sue me, but that's okay. So come onto your side, but when we come onto our side, we're using again the elbow to prop us up, the forearm for a little bit of stability, and make sure that you've got that bottom leg, the knee is bent. So if you're quite bony on the hips, you might just feel a little bit of comfort rolling back onto the slight padding on the buttock. But if you can get onto that hip, it's just a little bit better for alignment. So bring the top leg into flexion again. So that foot is about, I don't know, a couple of inches from the floor. And then in much the same ways we've done with all those other lift and lower exercises, we're coming to hip height, no higher, then lowering back down. So for now, we'll just do simple lift and lower. And keep the foot in flexion because that's what's sending the message to the right muscle group. I think it's fair to say that none of us love this area. I don't think anyone loves their butt or loves the If you do, I applaud you. I wish I did. So this is kind of easy. We could do this all night. So let's make it a little bit more challenging. So instead of just that lift and lower, let's add a little bit of a pulse. So let's say we're going to say lift, lift, lower, lower. So ironically, the smaller the action is, the more you're going to feel the juicy goodness. I say juicy. It's a good word. Oh, it's now starting to smart a little bit. Yeah, and it's in the right place as well. It's in that kind of like bit that's always cold. Maybe it's just me. I know that bit's always cold because it's the bit that's the least active. One more of these little lifts. And then I'm going to pretend to you that this makes it all better, but it really doesn't. You're going to sweep this upper leg forward until the thighs are level. You know that when we do the bend knee thing and we've got the knees above one another? So that foot is still a couple of inches from the floor. Now we're going to lift and lower. I'm sorry. Do you feel like Jane Fonda now or the Green Goddess? Oh, this is proper hardcore. I can only manage another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, I'm sorry, I can see all those faces. Bend the knee, and then almost as though you're doing that little, I don't know what you call it, the thigh stretch one. Yes. Nice. Beautiful. And guess what? You get to do it all on the other side. So just swivel over. And you'll know now whether propping up on the elbow was the right thing for you on the first side. You might even want to come all the way down if you're proper chill about it. So remember to bend that bottom knee. That's partly what helps to support the lower back. And your first action's easy. And in fact, on this side now, you're like, I can't believe that I even felt this on the other side. But remember, it's all about the build. Softly, softly, catchy monkey. Shall we turn it into doubles? So lift, lift, lower, lower. So when I used to teach this back in the 90s, my soundtrack of choice was Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. It's got a really good beat for this kind of thing. Fat bottom girls, they make the rockin' world go round. Okay, I won't make you sing. Last 2. Smile at the camera as though you love me, even though I know you don't. Now swing that right heel forward. Well, it's my right, might be your left. You know you want to. Little bit of lift and lower. I know. I mean, this one, if anyone was looking at this, they'd go, that looks proper easy. It's rock hard. Louise, your leg is coming a lot higher than I would expect it to. Bring that heel a little further forward. I think it's Louise. That's better. One more. Just between friends. Bend that knee. A little bit of a thigh stretch. A little bit of a butt slap. That does the job too. Amazing. Roll over onto your front. So we'll bring onto the forearms again. So elbows under shoulders, palms open. Draw the shoulder blades together. Push into the thighs. Inhale to lift the chest. I'm not going to go any higher or deeper into this tonight, so really enjoy finding your space here. Turning the gaze over the right shoulder, bringing the gaze back to center, looking over the left shoulder, coming again back to center, then lowering all the way down. My preference is to place the left hand underneath the forehead so that my nose isn't on the floor. I'm going to bring the right heel in towards the buttock, grab hold of the ankle or the hem of your leggings. Avoid here, if you can, pulling the heel out to the side. It will just rag the knee. Keep the heel directly above the buttock. A little hip tilt here will help to press the thighs into the mat as you inhale to lift the chest and extend that stretch down through the front of the thigh. Then as you exhale, release the foot to the floor. Switch over the head, the hand under the head. Bring the left heel in, left hand to left ankle, keeping that discipline of the heel drawn in towards the buttock. That little half tilt again to press the thighs into the mat. Inhale to lift the chest. So you're getting 2 for the price of 1. Then on and out breath, release that foot to the floor. Reposition both hands either side of the chest. Draw the elbows in, push into the palms, lengthen all the way back. Come into a lovely long child's pose. I ran out of space. I'm doing a little shuffle adjust. Keep tucking that tailbone down towards the heels. Let's switch off tension in the shoulders by bringing the wrists either side of the ankles. Just let your forehead rest where it may. And if you are resting on the forehead or near enough, just gently roll through the forehead so that again we're just releasing the neck. Because you're relying on your side before looking at the camera, you might just put a bit of tension in your neck. Brilliant. As you return to center, bring the hands just underneath the shoulders, push into the palms and lift yourself up. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep you for long in hero pose. And if it's really unbearable, you can also rest on the shins if you don't want to sit back onto the heels. Let's take a moment to widen the arms, drop the shoulders down. Keep the underside of the chin parallel to the floor. Try not to look up. Keep gazing forward as you bring the hands to an interlock behind the lower back. Draw the shoulder blades together. Notice that when we do this, the body starts to compensate. So I'm going to suggest that you keep tucking the tailbone under, drawing the tummy button in, lifting the weight of the rib cage off the belly. So we're really strong in the core and the spine. Then lift the arms away from the lower back and just find that extra space that we can through the chest. Avoid leaning forward. I think if you have knee issues, that's possibly why. Then bring the hands to the lower back. Let the hands go. Shake it all out. Shake it off. Shake it off. I think I could give Taylor a run for her money. Beautiful. So you'll be pleased to know that that's all the pain and torture over with. This is the bit that you all really like. So I didn't start with anything deep and meaningful. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a nicer Shavasana this evening. So if it's chilly where you are, you might want to pull a couple of layers on. You might need a blanket. You might need some socks because cold feet are very distracting. And if it floats your boat, you can dim your lights. I just draw the line at you getting under your duvet and settling down for the night. I think I just said that just as Lauren grabbed her duvet. That's all right, you are allowed. Perfect. So because we've been quite active tonight and because we've engaged and strengthened a lot, we want to mindfully spend a couple of moments making sure that we disengage. So let's work from the head all the way to the toes. Think firstly about any tension across your face, perhaps in your jaw. So unclench the teeth, relax the tongue in the well of the mouth. Soften the eyebrows. Encourage that space between the eyebrows. I like to imagine that my hairline is sinking backwards. The back of the head is sinking a little more deeply into the floor. I'm holding my head in such a way that the neck doesn't feel pinched. So that might just help to adjust the chin a little closer to the chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Noticing if you are resting on the bony parts of the shoulders. Adjust if you need to draw the shoulder blades together to widen the collarbones. Sometimes taking the arms a little wider, just create that extra space you need through the upper body. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling and relax the fingers, relax the hands. As you come to each out breath, feel the head, the arms and the hands become a little heavier, sinking a little more deeply into the floor beneath you. Start to feel the rest of your upper body sinking into this space. The wide muscles of your back releasing their grip on your spine. That natural lift that we hold for the lower back. Let yourself soften here. Unclenching the buttocks, relaxing the back of the hips. Taking all the space you need through the upper body to widen and soften into the earth beneath you. Take care that you're not holding the hips or the thighs. So bring your full attention in and around the right hip as you exhale. Soften here, release here. Bring that full attention over to the left hip. Exhale to soften and release. As you inhale, notice the front of the body expanding and widening into the space above you. As you come to the exhale, feel the weight of your belly, the space between your hips. Gently draw you back towards the earth. Feel the legs become heavy. Soften the back of the right thigh, the back of the left thigh. A sense of the inner thighs rolling outward, drawing the tops of the thighs a little wider. Keeping that gentle softness around the knees. Heavy and relaxed in the calves, the shins, the ankles. Let your feet become heavy, the toes soft, the soles of your feet fully released and relaxed. Let your body become so heavy, so heavy. Even if you wanted to, it would take far too much effort to move or lift any part of your body. Lean into this sense of releasing, letting go, of simply being in your body. Notice the breath entering and leaving the body. No agenda. No need to force the breath. Your breath will find its way to the parts of the body that need it most. Encouraging balance. As you spend this precious time recharging, re-energizing. Become more mindful of coming to the end of each full breath, filling the lungs completely, emptying the lungs fully. The wide muscles of your back expanding and widening on the inhale. The front of your body, your belly, softening and releasing on the exhale. Allow these next few breaths to be a little noisier. Try breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And if it feels appropriate for you, let this next breath go with an audible sigh. That sigh is a marker, a recognition that through this practice, you've gently released anything that doesn't serve you. We invite positive energy, that we release any toxins, any negative energy holding us back. Through this mindful breath, the body becomes lighter. Start to become aware again of your space within this room. Notice the shape you're making on the floor. Start to make little adjustments to return sensation to the body. You may need to stretch the fingers wide. You might want to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, wiggle the jaw a little, wiggle the nose. If you're lying supine, your choice whether you take a long stretch through the body, whether you prefer to hug the knees in towards the chest, just to release again the lower back. Take a moment to roll to one side, pausing to blink the eyes open. Then return once more to a comfortable seated position. Oh, you look a bit snoozy now. Soz. Bring your hands to an Anjali Mudra. Touch to the head for kind thoughts. to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but that went so fast. Or would you disagree?